get this going here. Station number 1. So hello, I am Purposely Simple Sean. Fucked it up already. I had an intro. Fuck. Hello everyone. Fuck, I did it again. Okay. So didn't do that right. Universe ball is next. So yeah, the universe ball. I thought this was a good idea to do now. It's a weird intro. This is brainstorming of a joke book for comedy routine. And this is basically going to be me mansplaining my jokes and brainstorming to make it into something. Because in my mind, I have something fantastic, but I can't get it out of my head into the world. So this is me talking through it. And I think that the most absurd way, I think that you're supposed to think of the most absurd way that you can get what you think you want. And for me, the most absurd way for me to get what I think I want is for me to be able to produce a comedy special to the likes of, standard of. There's a word meaning worthy of, but that seems worthy of someone like Pat McAfee coming out of retirement and doing something that he hasn't done in a while, like a stand-up routine. And for me to be able to be worthy of being after that performance would give me what I want. Wow, that's a lot of words. So yeah. So that's what we're doing. And for me to do that, I have to obviously have a routine worthy of being after that. So that's what this is. The creation of that. Oh, fuck, that was part. So basically, this is me trying to get the routine out. And I have what I think is a great intro. And in my mind, when I'm smoking by the fire pit, it's fantastic. But obviously, I fucking fumbled it when I tried to get it out. So that's where we are at this moment. Yeah. So fucking let's do this shit. So hello, I am Purposely Simple Sean. How does that go? Like, how did it go? I'm Purposely Simple Sean. But what's in a name? Yeah, I'm Purposely Simple Sean, but as our boomers used to say, what's in a name? Right? Because like a boomer is an old person, and an old person to an old person would be like of Shakespeare's time frame, and Shakespeare is famous for saying, "What's in a name?" Like that's the shit that that's where I think that's weird. Where I think the the barrier is between what's in my brain and getting it out, and that's kind of like um, that's what I'm trying to do is kind of like wear down the walls like water passing through a brick, right? It's eventually going to wear a hole, a path, a hole some way, and that's what this is. This is the water through the brick. Um, oh, wow, that's kind of profound. Um, um, yeah. So basically, this is a long joke about how I'm starting a religion to mock religions to save religion. It's not really that. It's actually my obsession with fixing society. In order to fix society, you must show society how to live. And what's better way to do that is than to make fun of society. Uh, that's kind of what this is, just pointing at all of the facts that, the only thing that really matters is that you're having a good time and you're not hurting anybody else. And that's really what we're trying to do here. And all of the answers to having a good time are acceptable as long as it's not over exploiting the system. And that's kind of why it's weird, because I think I need to we need to like fuck stay on track. Um, say you do the intro. Hi, I purposely go by Simple Sean, but as the boomers would say, what's in a name? Welcome. You are privileged enough today to uh, be what's the name for somebody who is in an experiment? Fuck, I had the word. Let's fucking grok it out. Let's go and grok it out. What is a word for a person who is participating in an experiment? I can't spell for shit. Precise. Other precise serves depending on context. Very common. Human subjects. Ooh, test subjects. Research participants. The most formal volunteer test subject experiment subjects. And for guinea pigs. Do we go that? Fuck, what else I said? You have the privilege. You have the privilege today. Uh, what is the opposite of a volunteer? I am Simple Sean. Hello. Hi. I purposely go by Simple Sean, but as the boomers would say, what's in a name? You have the honor of being uh, drafty guinea pigs for my social experiment. Um, this is simulation number 1. Uh, we did do an original one. It was terrible, but we are aware of the same amount of people we were at the start, so no one died. Mm, I think that flow that has a like that's the line we want to go to. I don't think it flows horribly bad. I think it goes. don't know if I need to put in there or at the end of that the no, because I tell them you're in the experiment. This is the first time. Um, so I just want to let you know that whatever happens from here is on purpose and is your fault. But it's okay because I've asked God and you seem to be strangely comfortable with it. Like, does that basically says the argument in the first sentence. So if you're listening or paying attention and you follow the line, you can see that God, science, like God exists, but God is basically people, right? You are one person, and to your people, you are a person, but may not be that same person, if that makes sense. And to the persons of persons, you are just one person. So like you matter not to, yeah, it's fucking way deeper than I feel like that's so weird, dude. But yeah, like you're the I whatever happens from here is all your fault. It means you are responsible for you as a person, right? Like you put yourself here. You put yourself where you are where your feet are because of your choices. No matter how minuscule they may have had been, you still had a choice and you made it, and that's why you're there, right? Like shitty or great, it's luckier or unfortunate, like they're the same thing. You're there for the same reasons, and you need to take responsibility for that. Like if you're here and not having fun, it's your fault you're not having fun because you're choosing not to have fun for whatever reason that is. Because as stupid as I sound right now and as terrified as I am and confused and all of the other things, like this is fun. Uh, this experiment of am I really able to document a thought becoming or an idea becoming a thought? Um, so I don't like an idea is something one person has, and or an idea becoming a truth. That's what it was. Um, so an idea is something that one person has, or a very small number of people have, and that is here nor there. The difference, I can explain it, but I feel like it's too much. Um, and a thought is something that on some level everyone is aware of. There's that experiment or whatever where they trained the rats on how to like go to the dark or something, and they did it in New York, and then they ran tests on uh, different skill levels, and everybody got better in this one thing, and then they were able to like redid it over across the ocean with rats that didn't have any contact with anything, and like the species learn things. Um, when it becomes that species thing, that's a thought. Like that's knowing something without the ability of explaining it. There you go. That's a thought. An idea is something I like. This is an idea. I couldn't tell you. This is a joke we need to put in. Like, what's the difference between insanity, uh, someone who's insane and someone who's a genius, or genius and insanity, or genius like the flow there. But that's the comparison. Both know both know what they're doing is crazy and is probably going to be detrimental to their well-being, but do it anyway. And to be a genius, you must be right to the fact that you're the exception. Mm. And it goes the other way. But that's the gist of the joke. Is like the difference is you both know that it's a bad idea. You both know that it's a bad idea. You both know that it's probably going to have adverse effects on your life, but you both think that you're the exception to it being terrible. And the difference between insanity and genius is geniuses are right about it. So the difference between insanity and genius is a very thin line. Um, some might call it faith, because as you're passing from insane to genius, there's that period where you're kind of a little bit of both, and that's where I think I exist right now, where I kind of think what I have trying to do is genius, but also that it's super fucking insane. Um, so yeah, so like the intro goes, um, I am purposely Simple Sean. Um, but as the boomers would say, what's in a name? Um, you all have the privilege tonight to be draftees in the human trial simulations of my social experiment. That being said, whatever happens from here is all your fault. At least that is what God told me. And you all seem to have a pretty good idea of what is going on. No, not what is going on. What we should do. What we should do. Yeah, that was good. That was, I mean, it flowed. That was good. I think that was good. It shows the whole circle, right? Like I'm doing this, like I am, you are you and I am me. Well, we, like, and the we is not, it could be two, three, four, etc. We impress upon each other, whether it is massive or minuscule. Like right now, the influence that I have on everything and the influence that you have on me is minimal because we're not aware of what it is. Or if we're aware of what it is, we're not interested in it, right? Like this is the particles or the electrons becoming interested in each other. I don't know what atoms you have that like come like hydrogen and oxygen coming together, two hydrogens coming together. This is like they do a little dance before they decide whether they're interested, and some of them don't, some of them do. I feel like that's a real thing. I don't know, but that's kind of what this idea is. And the only way that you can have things get interested in it is to fucking put it out there into the world for it to vibrate and to cause attraction. Or I don't know how wavelengths work. I feel like if you throw them out there, you find the same one and you go. Um, and I think that there's people out there that wants to fix things um, and don't know the way to do it. And I have a pretty cool way um, to try. And that's what this is trying to do. And that's super fucking weird to like, but the motive is important because the things that I'm going to say are, and some of the actions that may be done could appear to be done for malicious reasons or bad reasons or not in the benefit of everyone to some people, because that's the way everything works. Um, you really only have control of 3% of your existence. That's all. That's it. It's all you have full control over. The rest is up to God, and God is the people that are around you. Um, and if and it doesn't have to be a lot of influence. The reason I'm just 3% is all you have complete control over. Like you don't have to ask. There's nothing that's influenced by another person. And some people will call them instincts. Like that's the only thing you have control over, and then everything else is influenced by people. About 18% is the people that you pick, the influences that you pick. Um, that's about 20% that you have control over, and then there's about 35% that is the things you are aware of that control the things that you choose to be an influence on you. That leaves 45% of your experience is not in your control, and it's controlled by something that you're not aware of. So it's like you're controlled by the influence of the things that the influence of the things that you chose to influence you. So like that's the fourth dimension that some would call it. And yeah, I don't know what the fuck that's why we went down that road. Um, but yeah, no, but that's where your ideas live, right? Like that's where we're at. So it's like a lot of me talking to nothing, and you can imagine just sitting alone in the middle of nowhere and just trying to get an idea out and not know, think that it's a great idea but not know if anybody even cares, and or even to tell you that it's a bad idea. Like that's why indifference is the worst place to live, but it's where we should all try to achieve, because indifference is a super weird place. um, it's where you truly experience everything because you're indifferent to it, so you're not aware of it. This is where like your time flies. Athletes call it like you black out in winning the Super Bowl or whatever. Like you were so entrenched in the moment that you didn't even know the moment happened. You're so indifferent to it. But then you're where I'm at, where you're like indifferent in the opposite direction, where you're like not experiencing everything but seeing everything. Like that's the other part of the experience is is the athlete is being everything, so they're not aware of anything. But this moment in time is I'm not anything, but I'm aware of everything. Um, and that's where we're transitioning to, right? Because that moment right after he comes back to is he's now in the opposite. He went through the black hole and is coming out the other side as the light molecule. Because that's what spits out of a black hole is light, right? I think maybe ultimate energy. That would be light. It would be where light comes from, anyway. And light has a lot of fucking things on it that we can't see. Yeah. And this is the shit that we need to get under control. Some of it's funny. Like there's a joke in there somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Hi, I'm Simple Sean. I purposely go by Simple Sean. You have the no, you have the poop on a stick. Hi, I'm Simple Sean. Or hi, I purposely go by. Purposely, yeah. Purposely. I purposely perform as. There we go. I purposely perform as Simple Sean. This all makes sense going down the road. Like all of this is intertwined. And I think that's the problem. Is like there's a lot of threads that I want to like keep weaving. And at some point I think somebody's going to help, right? Like, so life has four phases. Everything has four phases, including life, right? And people like to say when you get to your 40s, you have a midlife crisis. This is where people buy cars, they go and fuck their brains out. They realize they're gay, like all of these fucking massive changes occur, and they call it a midlife crisis, and that's not right. Midlife crisis isn't a midlife crisis because it happens mathematically in the middle of your life, right? 90 divided or 80 divided by 2 is 40. That's the middle. That's when we're supposed to have our midlife crisis. It's not what it means. Middle means like you are having, you're in the experience and you're not on the edge, you're in the middle. Like you're just in the middle of the shit. You're in the middle of the storm, in the eye of the storm sometimes. So you have these crises all the time. The only reason why the ones that happen in your 40s is because that's when you should be getting into the fourth phase of life, which is, as I call it, the fondle it phase. Four phases of life are the fuck it stage, the find it stage, the feed it stage, and the fondle it stage. And these are similar to the other stages, the four phases that most other things have. You have your solid, your molten phase, where you're kind of a liquid and you're kind of a solid, usually near the center. And that is the fuck it phase. This is basically when you just go around finding things and just say fuck it. And then fuck it is such a diverse word. You're either trying to destroy something or have nothing to do with it, so you're telling it to fuck off, or you want to create something and build with it, so you're trying to fuck it as hard as you can to make as many options as you can of it. So you're either trying to create something or you're trying to destroy something. That's what you're doing in the fuck it phase. And then at some point, hopefully, inside that phase, you find something that you not only want to create something with, but you want to destroy stuff with. That makes sense. So you want to, they are, you and them are their own separate unit. So they're one unit that you're a part of and they're a part of, and that's the find it phase. So this is where you're trying to become, quote unquote, bigger than yourself, pair bonding or whatever. And So you find this thing, and then when you and that thing that you chose to destroy stuff with goes through its own fuck it phase at that point. And eventually, while you go through your fuck it phase, you and your thing, whatever you've chosen to pair bond with, you find something together. That's the feed it phase. So you're now trying to build something bigger than both you and your system. And eventually you're going to get all four of those phases to work uniformly or without a lot of effort. So you kind of get to float, you automate it. There you go. You automate it. And once you automate it, you kind of just float above it, and you get to fondle it and poke it and caress it and, just kind of mold it the best that you can into whatever you're trying to make it into, right? Like it already is what it is, but you're just trying to keep it where it's supposed to be. When it like pokes out in the middle section, you're either like poking it, or you stop because you're just like, you know what, it wants to go, let it see where it's going to go. It wants to go there, so let's see how far below. I should make a dick joke there. So we should see how far down the belt line it'll go. I don't know. There's a joke there. There's a fat guy joke there, and I want to make it. I just don't know how. And that's what the fondle it phase is. Now, sometimes we get to that point and we haven't. The reason why the 40s one is because that's the fourth. That's about the time you should be reaching. That's the time. The rest of your what would you call the rest of your God? That's not what I want to call it. That's when the rest of your generation, there you go, your generation reaches that, and you're able to like either realize that your purpose should be continued or not, or I don't know. That's tough. That's one's hard. Like phase 4 is when you're just kind of floating out there and you're just like either content with what you built, or you want to try to go find something to build with the thing that you've built. And that's kind of where I am in life, where it's like phase 4, where it's like I'm really happy with where I am. I tell people that I'm living the dream, and I really am. Like I have enough free time to talk to nothing on the internet and be okay with it, but want more. And I do something that I enjoy, and I'm with people that I care about. So like it's really the dream. Like you're always asked what your perfect day is, and my perfect day is the day that is any day I get to sit by the fire pit and smoke a joint with my people. Unfortunately, right now my people are in my head, and now I'm trying to find some people that are not in my head to sit and smoke a joint by the fire pit with. So I guess my fondle it phase for the last little while has been just poking my existence, and now I guess I'm trying to build something with what I've built. And what I've built is a very strange idea. And the idea is basically that I know how to fix society. That's the next part of the joke. the experiment is, the experiment is really trying to document an idea to a thought, to a truth. Um, so I need to make a joke at the beginning there. So hi, I'm Simple Sean. I purposely perform as Simple Sean. But as the boomers would say, what's in a name? I'm honored to inform you that you all have the privilege of being my first simulations draftees for human trials. Thankfully, so far we've had no casualties, but this is the original test group. That being said, we are responsible for ourselves, so whatever happens from here on out is 100% your fault. I feel like it is okay, though, because God is making me do it, and you all seem like you have a pretty good idea of how to handle most situations. So we start our experiment with a universe ball. The universe, wow. A universe ball is the most absurd way you can achieve everything you think you want to achieve. And saying it, putting it into the universe to see what it is. And with our online experiment, the universe ball is creating a special, is the Third Place Information Bureau presents a tinfoil hat time production live from Earth, mental masturbating, a Pat McAfee show, Speakeasy, featuring Simple Sean as Tinfoil Hat HT, Woo Wee Out the Woohoo, a Be Where Your Feet Are jam. That is the that is the name of what of my universe ball. But again, what's in a name? It's really hard for me. Now that doesn't make sense to a lot of you. It probably doesn't make sense to a lot of you. Because it violates some of your truths, some of your beliefs. Do I want to say it violates some of your some of you, it violates some of you as a person, and that's okay. Because we're all made up of our own truths. And when you start to think about it, truths are simply just lies that we all agree to tell each other. So the lie that I'd like you to agree to tell each other about me is the Third Place Information Bureau presents a Tinfoil Hat Time production, live from Earth, mental masturbating, a Pat McAfee show, Speakeasy, featuring Simple Sean as Tinfoil HT, Woo Wee Out the Woohoo, a Be Where Your Feet Are jam. So I said truths are just lies we all agree to tell ourselves. And that's really all I'm doing, is telling you my truth and hoping somebody else sounds like that's weird. Fuck, a lot of shit that I say, I think about it and then it ends up being like hijacked by a group, right? Like I just sound like a fucking LBGTQ XYZ But yeah, I guess it's true. Like, live your life, man. Live your best life. Live your truth. And that's kind of mine. Apparently, is being a genius or being having. Mine is having faith. As you think, if you think about it, like it's weird. It's weird that religion didn't really didn't take, right. Like was I was confirmed Catholic, but I never went to church. Um, the reason being is because uh, when I first few times that I went to church, people would say to me that, or it wasn't when I went to church, but people would ask me questions sometimes. They're like, "What?" They wouldn't ask what religion I was. They would ask if I was Christian, and I would emphatically say, "No, I am not Christian. That is my brother, and I will never be confused with my brother." Um, but I would say I was Catholic, and then they would tell me that I'm Christian, and I'm like, "Nope, not that. Nope, not that." But like I said, what's in a name? What is in a name? Um, Apparently a lot when it's your brother's name. So like, I never really identified as that, but like religion has everything that I want to create and what I think we all need. A place where you can live your truth or say your truth or whatever it is. Um, like confession has such a negative connotation to it, right? Like you go in there and you express all of the dirty, nasty things you've done. Like that's how it's all portrayed in everywhere. Like I didn't get the impression that you were like supposed to tell people the wild dreams that you have. Like, but you should also have a place to say like the dark, dirty things that you've done and you feel bad for, um, and know that it's like between you and them, right? Like if if I got away with it, it's weird, dude. Like that's a joke, but like it's so weird to like tap dance in that gray area for a joke when it's like a joke because it's so vague. And that's what I think is funny about everything is like it's these area that we think we're so um, we're so like black and white on. But when you go down there, like you reach usually you reach some part that it's like, well, maybe no, maybe it's the other way. So the line gets blurry, and then you go down a path, and then you kind of ask yourself, like, why did I care in the first place? Um, and that's kind of like earlier when I said you're influenced by the things that influence the things that you chose to be influenced by. The fact that that is confusing to explain uh, indicates how confusing it is to try to experience. You can't explain if nobody can explain it. The the finding of God, right? Like you don't go to church and find it. Anybody who's ever found it is never going to be able to tell you how to find it, and the only way you can know is just by knowing, right? Like that's the experience of everything, right? Not just God, but like uh, the first time you go over the edge of a roller coaster, like try to explain it to somebody, like I can't explain it, but it's like You get that thing, that pit in your stomach, a little whatever it is in your gut, and it starts rising into your throat, and just like blah, like it's usually the explanation that you get for those things. Or there was my chest just grew and expanded and like warm and light and this and that, and it was great. Everything was light and energetic and bright, and but that wasn't any of those things, but it was all of those things at the same time. I have no idea what I was talking about, but yeah. No, but that's the experience. Like you can't explain it. And fuck, where was I? Like the love and the fear and the love and anticipation, like we all know about. Ah, brainstorming is a bitch. Gotta do it. Gotta be done. Gotta be done. Then you gotta look at it later. Um, I don't hate the beginning. It doesn't flow good. Hi. I purposely perform as Simple Sean. I'm honored to inform you that you have the privilege of being tonight's draftees for my experiments human trials. Good news is that this is the original. Actually, this is the original. So yeah. That being said, we are all responsible for our own experiences. So whatever happens from here is entirely your fault. But I think we'll be okay. I did talk to God, and you seem to be very prepared. And I want to make it like that part needs to say something that like insinuates that. I need to say that in a way that the words say that you're in control and know what you're doing, but in a way that everyone knows that no, we're terrible at it. But yeah, that's the line there. Like, some of you have a really good idea what we should be doing, but most of you are fucking crazy. But that's what I want to say there. Maybe I just say that. Like, I talk to God, but some of you have a really good idea and know exactly what we should be doing, but a lot of you are just fucking crazy. So that being said, I fucking like that. I like that a lot. Hello, I purposely perform as Simple Sean. I have the privilege of announcing that you are all, tonight, you are all draftees to be um, in my experiments human subject, human trial. Um, that didn't flow great at all. Power through our human trials. This is the original simulation, so let's see what happens. That being said, we're all responsible for ourselves. So whatever happens from here is entirely your fault. But it should be okay. I spoke to God, and you all seem like you have a good handle what we should be doing. But the rest of you are really fucking crazy. I do talk to God. We're to talk to God. We're pretty good smoking buddies. Um, that is, I met him while getting stoned. And through our time getting stoned, we have solved society's problems. Solve society's problems. And to do that, we have designed an experiment to prove I am not insane and God does exist. I think that works because then we can go into what's the difference between insanity and genius. And that's what the experiment is. Am I a genius or insane? Okay, I don't hate that. That sounds. Hello, I purposely perform as Simple Sean. I have the privilege of informing you tonight that you are all, you've all been, you all have, I have the honor of informing you all that you have the privilege of being tonight's human subjects in my human subject in my social experiment. That being said, we all are taking responsibility for ourselves. So whatever happens from here is entirely your fault. But it's okay. This is all God's idea, and you seem like you have a pretty good handle on what we should be doing. Most of you seem like you have a pretty good handle on what we should be doing. No, some of you seem like you have a good handle on what we should be doing, but the rest of you are just fucking crazy. I do spend a lot of time talking to God. He is my smoking buddy. He is currently how I achieve my perfect day of sitting by the fire pit, smoking a joint with my friend. So I'd like to thank you all for that. But while we've been sitting around it, we have decided that we came up with a rule, or I came up with a rule because God fucking complains a lot. So the rule that I came up with was, if you're going to complain about something, you can't complain about something more than 3 times. After the 3rd time, you have to have a solution for it. Because if you don't have a solution for it, then it's just a reality. And reality is just observing problems that you don't have solutions for. And I don't have time to fuck around in your reality. So, first time, I realized that it's probably when you've identified it and you're trying to come to understand it. So you're coming to me and you need to talk about it, you need to vent about it, and I'm here to listen. But the second time you come, and I'll listen to you, no matter how crazy it is. You should come up with some crazy stories for this, but I don't have any right now. I don't care how crazy it is. I'll listen to it. Like, you like to dress up in her panties while she spanks you and growls at you like a tiger. Like, fucking, that's cool, man. That's hard. I don't know if I like that. Whatever. That's something that, like, that's the kind of thing. Like, I don't. I just fucking tell some of my shit there. I don't need other people's. I got tons of my own. When you fuck a fat chick, you look down at your looked down at your sweatpants and you saw a skid mark, and did you stop? No, you finished. That was a real thing. I don't know what I was saying. Yes, so that was a good one. You had a good one and you got distracted, dude. Whatever. God complains. God likes to complain. So the first time I'll listen to you, no matter how crazy it is. Um, if you're coming to me a second time, then you have to be looking for advice at that point. Like we should have talked it all out first time. So now you're looking for advice, and I will listen to it and discreetly offer and interject and ask questions, and hopefully you ask questions, but don't ask questions you don't want the answer to, um, because this is a fragile moment for you, and sometimes you're not going to like the real answer, and I'm going to give it to you. Um, because after this one, I'm kind of done with it. Like I can't, like I said, I don't have time to dabble in your reality. So the third time, I'll listen to you, but I'm going to offer. At this point, if you come to me the third time, then you're asking for my advice. So I'm going to give you my advice and give you a course of action. And so after this, I have the option to just look at you and say, what are you doing to change it? Or, yeah. So after a few months of talking to God, I had to come up with that criteria for conversations, so he would stop complaining about all of the stupid bullshit that's going on. But I'm retired and I have a pretty sweet existence, so I don't really have a lot to complain about. And I would start watching. I don't know what it was, but I started watching the news or something, and I would start complaining about society. So like it's fucking stupid shit. Like why are we wearing masks, and what is, if a vaccine works on you to protect you, what does it matter if I have one? Um, Aliens are just the the previous versions of AI and humans coming together and evolving in space. What's the other one that I have? Atlantis is real and we should recreate it. uh, Fuck, what was I saying? Like those are the two things that I think are like, if my if this idea is true, like that's where we end up at, like sending people into space with AI and them like either evolving on, yeah, fuck it, let's go here. Graham Hancock is doing his farewell tour. He's gonna be the influence of our. He's kind of an influence of like how I've gotten to this point anyway. Is like the religion we created and the religion we're trying to exist is called the wow religion. Like we are all wrong, and that's like Graham Hancock was. He looked at everything as like, nope, we're all wrong. And if we're all wrong, what could be right? And then he just started looking from that standpoint and came up with some like the flood is everywhere, right? So we all flooded out something, and then like you just let yourself go into like what if Antarctica, the one at the bottom that we think is the bottom, but I really think is the top. What if it was like this illustrious place with green and everything everywhere, because that's where all the extra electricity and whatever would come into, and it was like where the main antenna to shoot the energy back into the core of the earth to keep everything stable was. And since you need things to be cool to launch them into space, we had our space program on the other side. and the asteroid that we think hits the Earth isn't an asteroid that hits the Earth, but it's a fuck up of something trying to leave the Earth. How's that for a fucking tinfoil hat thing? There's our there's our conspiracy theory story to found the religion, right? We all were super advanced, so advanced that there were literally two, I mean, not literally two, but like, yeah, like in the middle of Dalhouse, where you have the people with the chips in the side of their head, and then you have like the people who are just like, we're gonna live in equilibrium with Earth, and we're just gonna get what we need, and have our super awesome trains take us everywhere, and have our own food, and only have to work for like 4 hours a day, and we have fucking awesome everything is sculpted and made by things that care for people that care and the people that don't care. I don't want to say get trash, but like what if everything, what if 20% of the things that we thought worked the way that they worked the way that they worked? How awesome would life be? Only 20%. Because 20% of everything, that's the 80-20 rule. Oh, fuck, dude. This is where I'm like, people don't want to listen to this, but like, this is the interesting parts. Like, this isn't the funny parts. This is the interest part. And like, this online thing is for the audience. Like, this is the opportunity for the audience to see where it all came from. And like, it's a wild, wild ride. Wild, wild times. Um, just try one last time, and then it's been an hour, so we'll be good. Hello, I purposely perform as Simple Sean, um, as the boomer of boomers would say. But what's in a name? Um, Forgot where we're going from there. What's in a name? I have the privilege of informing you that you. I have the honor of informing you that you are the privileged. You have the privilege tonight to be um, the human trial subjects in my experiment. This is the original. This is the, yeah, this is the first simulation. This is the original simulation. So let's see what happens. Um, with that being said, I do want to inform you that we are all taking responsibility for ourselves tonight. So whatever happens from here to you is entirely your fault. But this is all God's idea, and some of you seem to have a pretty good idea what we should be doing. The rest of you are totally fucking insane. Um, I do talk to God. We are smoking buddies. He is helping me live my best life. My best life is every day that I can sit by the fire pit and smoke a joint with my people is the best day. So I do that, and since there are no real people that that want to do this with me, I've resorted to hanging out with God. Now, God is a complainer. Constantly complains about everything. Housing prices are too high. We're at war with Iran. What do we do about trans people? Like, constantly complaining about stupid shit. And I got sick of it. So I had to. I believe in being a solution oriented individual. Um, and I want to be surrounded by solution-oriented people, and my dad would always say, you are what you accept. So I had to come up with a rule, and I call it the 3 times rule. You can only complain about something 3 times, and then you have to, because after that it's no longer something worth complaining about. It is a reality. It is your reality. So you either accept your reality or you change reality, because reality is just the observation of problems that you either don't have a solution for, or you're not willing to perform the solution. And I don't have time to live in your reality because I got enough problems in my own reality. Or I've already solved all the problems in my reality. So right there, you just went through 2. So there's 2 lines of jokes I can do right there. If I'm doing it in 4 minutes, I have to do one or the other. But there's that's where I have no time to live in your reality. I'm dealing with my reality. So you either exist in reality or you exist in the experience. And I want to exist in the experience. I think a lot of this is tone, dude. I don't think it's bad. All right. Yeah, so let's finish that. Don't quit here. You're not going to go any further, though. Not right now. So there's nope, you lost it. No, the 4 phases, the 4 phases of the experience lead into the 3 lead into so the experience is the overlap. Because you're either experiencing something or you're aware of a problem, but indifferent to it existing, or you're aware of a problem that does it, and the problem either has a solution or doesn't have a solution. And the problem that doesn't have a solution is just a reality. And you should just accept that so we can move on. So it's just part of your experience. Or we need to solve the problem so you can move on and we can just go back to having the experience. I need to give the directions of the experience thing, because I think that's, yeah, we need to get there. But we did the opening. I think the opening's solid. I need to work on the timing. I need to stop stuttering, but the hello, I purposely perform as Simple Sean, as the boomer would say, but what's in the name? It needs to be tightened up, but I like that line. I have the honor tonight to inform you that you have the privilege of being tonight's trial subjects in my experiment. Trial subjects in my experiment. It's that being said, we're all taking responsibility for ourselves tonight. So anything that happens from here on out is all your fault. That's okay, though, because this is all God's idea. And some of you have a really good idea of what we should be doing. The rest of you, like myself, are just fucking insane. I do talk to God. We are smoking buddies. They are doing it. God is, let's just say God. Fuck it. I don't know. We need another word. They, them. What's a singular they? I, we, we. I do talk to God. We are good smoking buddies. We are helping me with my best day. My best day is any day that I sit by the fire pit and have a meaningless conversation with some of my people is my perfect day. So since there are no real people that want to do that with me, I found God. But mm, but God is a bit of a complainer, and then I think we stop there. All right, I like it. I like it. I think we did. That was a good one. We'll fucking review this later and go from there. Peace and love. Oh wait, we end with the saying. So if you ever make it this far, I really do need people to at least acknowledge that I'm doing something. So remember, there is no action without reaction. So react promptly, react with purpose, and if possible,